Hi, welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football show. Basketball games running along, whatever. We're here. We're ready to go. Kayce, Big Ev, share your mutual love and admiration and respect for a delicious high noon.
Listen, it is Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Everybody knows that you might have been done with work yesterday. You're probably done with work today. You're heading home. You're heading to the family. You're heading wherever for an entire weekend of football. Lots of food, lots of family. And Ev, whether you love your family, you hate your family, you're talking football, you're talking whatever, it's always better with a high noon in your hand. Always, always, always.
The big three, Kayce: food, football, high noon. That's Thanksgiving. That's what I think of. I mean, I'm going to be sitting on the couch. I'm going to be sitting at the dinner table, plate full of turkey, homemade mac and cheese, and a beautiful can of cold, delicious high noon hard seltzer.
You were about to say glass too. Listen, you can fancy up a high noon for Thanksgiving. You can pop that baby open, pour it over some ice. You can make it look real nice and fancy at your Thanksgiving dinner, or you can be like my family is, and we just pop them open, watch the games. That's what football and Thanksgiving is for. highnoonspirits.com to find a pack near you. Okay, boys. So this is, and I feel like if you've been watching this show for the last few years, you know, this is like our Thanksgiving special. We do what?
Kayce, I'm going to give you a do-over from the college football show. What week is this?
Rivalry week.
There we go.
Brandon, that word haunts me. It is so hard for me to say.
Welcome to Rivalry week.
Rivalry week. And it's happened every year. And like Dave and Dan, or mostly Dave, used to like make fun of it. Now it's just one of those things where it's like, we just know it's going to be said. Like, you know, sometimes like people just fuck up words. Rivalry week. Also, so we do one big episode today. Then obviously we'll have our reaction podcast Saturday night. So it's a mixture. It's a preview episode of all the games this weekend and unveiling of the college football playoff rankings, which is going to be a lot more exciting this week than it has been in weeks past because we just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the rankings when the time comes to talk about the rankings because we got a lot of stuff to get through. But Big F, I'm going to do something. I'm going to give you a do-over. Because on the college football show, it became a lot about one of our cowardliest men at Barstool, one of our biggest chicken shits, one of our biggest assholes, absolutely turned it into something it's not. But the truth is, this Saturday, Ohio State and Michigan will play. Michigan's won 3 straight in the rivalry, and now the chickens are coming home to roost, Big Av, and I need you to go ahead and talk about it.
Brendan, this is what this is. It's a day of reckoning. Is what it is. A day where the world finally comes back on its axis. There was a little blip in the radar the last 3 years. What these Michigan fans have seemed forgotten is that they didn't win this game for 20 years. The way they're acting right now is like they've just won this game for a century straight. And now we're coming up like, oh, like now you're talking shit when you're up or down. No. We're up forever. You had a nice little run. You won it even last year. That game was basically the national title game. Close game, we lost, but now this is a day of reckoning. This is a day of getting back and just getting back for the scars that they left on us for a few years. It ain't no fun when the Rabbits got the gun. I mean, it's a whole different game this time. You could say the Rabbit had the gun, but they're competitive, close games. Maybe they got the best of us. Probably the first one, pretty good. They gave us some licks, but this is gonna be a game where Ryan Day takes out all the pain and punishment that he's gonna take the last few years. He's going to take on. If we can win this game 70-0, we're going to do it. There is no score that is too much. There is no like running it up in this game is not like a question. Listen, the only way, and this is even trying to play devil's advocate. The only way, I wouldn't even say they can win, that they can make it a game, is if their defense just plays out of their mind, balls to the wall. Maybe they get like a pick six, you know what I mean? Like something like that. Like that's the only way they're gonna have any chance to stay in it. They won't score. Their offense is not gonna score. They're not gonna score. We're gonna suffocate them.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think I'm not part of that rivalry, but I've watched you watch him win for 3 years, and I'm gonna enjoy it Saturday, Kayce.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously the college football show is already aired, but people are probably going to watch it throughout the week. So if you haven't seen it, like what Brandon just said was true, that it became like the Bryce Underwood soliloquy show. The one thing that I know that Dave is Dave and he's going to spin everything and he's going to take his ball and go home. The one thing that I could not allow to continue to happen, and I tried to push back, but there's only so much you can do. And I don't think it's all of Michigan. I think it's obviously Dave doing Dave's thing. But at any point in any of these heated rivalries, it doesn't matter if you're the worst team in the country going against the best team or vice versa, or you're both really good. Like, you always want to be competitive in this game. And I know he does, but the way that he was just like, well, whatever, we're not good. Like, what does it really matter? No, this really fucking matters. And I know Ohio State's going to be in the college football playoff regardless, probably. I mean, even if they lose by 100, which they won't. But this is an automatic buy on the line. This is a trip to the Big Ten championship. And yes, beating Michigan after they've done what they have the last 3 years is important, but that's also important for Ryan Day. Go get a Big Ten championship. Go get that automatic buy. Beat Oregon. Those things are still on the line. I think Ohio State's going to kill Michigan for exactly what you just said, Ev. I think Ryan Day is going to take out every ounce of aggression he possibly can. And Michigan's just not good. They don't have an offense. Like, they've shown some signs, I guess, at some point. They're not going to – this isn't going to be a close game. And if it is, it's not going to be close for very long.
Yeah, I'm not even going to add much to it because we got a lot to talk about. Ohio State's going to name the score. 38-6 is what I'm naming it. Michigan's not good. Ohio State's playing for everything in the world. It's a perfect storm of Michigan being a bad football team, Ohio State being a great football team. I think they're the most complete team in the country, and they'll enjoy Saturday. They will enjoy the shit out of Saturday.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
I just this game, I can't stress, obviously for Day and all that, the senior class. The Jack Sawyers, the JTs, the Denzel Burks, so many guys on this team that came back for the Donovan Jacksons, that came back for this game, that hadn't got a win over them. Cody Simons, like all these guys that could have went to the NFL that came back for this game, this moment, and they're going to be playing balls to the wall. You're never going to see a team play harder than especially the defense plays this Saturday.
And I mean, Michigan, obviously, like, you can throw these games out. Like, you can say, like, sometimes you can throw the records out, like, when you come to these rivalry games, not with these two teams. Like, it's just Ohio State is so stacked. Will Howard's been playing so much better throughout the stretch, and Michigan just doesn't have a quarterback. Like, that's just point blank, period. Like, this isn't one of those games you can be like, well, anything can happen. No.
So, that's that game. I think that's a big game because of who it is. It's, the game or whatever. But I think the two biggest games in the country this weekend, as far as this playoff, what face are you making?
I got really excited thinking that you were going to say the right game, but you didn't.
I haven't said a game yet.
Yeah, but you're not going to say Blutman's right game. Like,
I haven't said a game.
You said regarding the playoff, so that I deflated like a balloon.
I mean, Blutman, that is kind of what the whole point of college football season is to talk
No,
about.
that's crazy. Some teams don't even get a chance to make the playoff. There's other stuff that matters, like a berth in the MAC championship. But it is what it is.
They had a chance to make the playoff.
I mean, yeah, but that's not the point. I'm saying some fan bases don't care about the playoff, and there's other things that matter and things that are bigger to them than going –
Turn
people
around,
know
right?
what I'm saying.
Why are you showing us the end of your contract? What's that have to do with us?
Because I was setting up to do the intro to the show, and then Blutman talked all over it and decided his little MAC game was as important as what I was talking about.
No. You called me out for reacting to you. That's on you. I was just thinking you were going to say Miami, Ohio against Bowling Green, which you didn't.
Well, he didn't
I
say
was
anything.
keeping it to myself. You made a big deal.
Ev, whenever it was Katie and Jack on the podcast and Brandon and I would start arguing, it'd be like, mom and dad are arguing again. I don't know what the dynamic between Brandon and Blutman is, but I'll say, I mean, the college football show, they went at it a little bit. It got a little heated between those two. It's continuing tonight. I mean, Blutman just tried to body Brandon on the college football show. I don't know what's going on with these two.
It's like an uncle and like what word am I use to describe Blutman? I don't want to use the word annoying because I don't think you're annoying, but his poking fun little nephew, his shithead nephew.
Nah,
that expects this week's podcast to be introed by a game between Miami of Ohio and whoever they're playing. I forgot.
Bowling Green.
It's a massive game. Winner to the MAC championship.
Does anybody mind if I say what the two biggest games are this
I would
weekend?
love that.
I would love it because I know what one of them.
good.
I know what both of them are, but I would love it, Brandon. You go for
Well,
it.
they're 1.5 in the SEC. It's Clemson, South Carolina. It's Texas A&M, Texas. Those are your two biggest games. Texas hasn't beaten anybody all year, and just this road win at Texas A&M will at least give them a little something. They're going to go to the playoff regardless, probably, even if they lose, even though they have no resume. A&M is playing for everything. A&M's got everything in front of them. If they win this and then win against Georgia, they're a playoff team. But then you got Clemson, South Carolina, and they are like two – kind of two animals just waiting for food to drop down, and one of them is going to get it, possibly. They're both kind of on that right under the playoff cut line. Clemson beats South Carolina. They could get in. South Carolina beats Clemson. I think they've got much less of a chance to get in because they'd still be behind Alabama and Ole Miss, in my opinion. But still, gigantic game in the Palmetto State, Big F, the Palmetto State. You like that one?
Love that. It's great. One of the better state names, I'd say.
Yeah.
Palmetto trees are fantastic. Love a nice tree. But this is a tougher game for me to like just think who's gonna win. I kind of like South Carolina in the game. I just think their physicality here is I think the problem we've seen with Clemson, like when they've struggled, it's when they play teams that like even matched or like subsided their physicality, like a Georgia, for example. Even like Louisville, I thought played on like more physical. They hit some big plays, like their speed definitely got the better of them too. But I think there's been moments where I think we got fooled for a minute, and I was one of them when they were played. They just ripped off games against Wake Forest and teams of that nature, like basically the mid of the ACC, and just ran through them. And then they finally played even one of the better teams in the ACC got beat up. I think South Carolina is going to be too physical for them. I think they beat them up in the line of scrimmage. I think it's a low-scoring game because I think it's a slobber knocker. I like South Carolina in the game.
South Carolina fans have just they've just gone so personal on me. I mean, it is personal to them. They're just calling me every name under the book. They just can't stand that I'm the only guy in college football that's not going to tickle their balls and lie to them. I'm just not going to lie to you.
I won't do that either.
I'm not going to lie to you. You are having a nice season, a really good season. I like what Shane Beamer's doing. You lost to LSU, you lost to Alabama, you lost to Ole Miss. You have 3 losses. Even if a 3-loss team were to get in, it's not going to be you. It's going to be Alabama who beat you. It's going to be Ole Miss who beat you by 27-3. They are all in front of you, and you don't have the wins. Now, if you beat Clemson, maybe we can talk about your wins. But you beat A&M, who could finish 8-4. That's pretty much it. You beat Missouri and you beat Vanderbilt, and those are not real great wins. Missouri's just not good. I don't care what the committee says about them being number 23. You lost in a blowout to Ole Miss. You lost to Alabama. You lost to LSU. You are having a good season. It is not a playoff season unless you beat Clemson and chaos happens, and then we've got something to talk about. But I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, my God, South Carolina's the hottest team in the country. No, they just stopped playing all the good teams on their schedule. That's what happened.
Well, and I mean, like, regardless of how you feel about like what their wins are, like you have to take in head to head, which I know they're not doing completely all the time. And there's sometimes that you just can't. But if you're looking at SEC teams with 3 losses, assuming that Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl and Alabama wins the Iron Bowl, like even if you say they have worse wins or losses, whatever it may be, like there is that head to head there. So for South Carolina to not only jump Ole Miss and Alabama when they lost to both of those teams seems impossible to me. And I don't care when they were played, like the fact that they would jump both of those teams doesn't seem right.
They're not going to jump.
Like that's that. And even if they beat Clemson, like, and I understand beating Clemson would be big, but if you're looking at those 3 lost teams, it's there. I personally think Clemson's going to win this game. And I've gone toe to toe with South Carolina fans. This is not because I don't like South Carolina. Obviously South Carolina's defense has been very good, very stout. The one thing about Clemson, and we obviously watched them get their doors blown off, and yes, they slipped up. But when Cade Klubnik and this offense gets rolling, and this is a rivalry game where Clemson is, they're the big brother coming in, whatever. Like, I think that they win this game. I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I'm going to take Clemson's offense against South Carolina's defense, which is not an easy thing to do. That's just the gut feeling that I have. And we've seen Cade Klubnik look 10 times better than we saw early in the season. And I understand Dabo gets all the heat in the world. I just believe that Clemson is going to come out on top. It's going to be a very, very close game.
I disagree with both of you on one thing. I think there's going to be points. I think it's going to be in the 20s, maybe in the 30s. I think that these teams, Sellers is good. They can run the ball. I think Clemson can keep up with anybody. I think there's going to be points. I get what y'all are saying. South Carolina has a great defense, but I'm just going to disagree on that point. Blutman, your thoughts on this game, please.
This is a simple zag while everyone zigs. Everyone seems to be loving South Carolina right now, loving them winning this game. More discredit to Dabo and what he's got going over at Clemson. Even though I don't love it, I'm just going Clemson here because of that. I still think that they're sound defensively. They've got pieces there that aren't being talked about. They're going to be able to bottle up the rush, in my opinion. I do fear for Clemson's offensive line against the South Carolina front. They've got pros everywhere, but I mean, everyone's struggling against that, and teams still figure out ways to beat South Carolina. I'll take Clemson there.
Kayce, do some business.
Well, this is a great time to bring this up because obviously Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. We're watching the College Football Playoff Committee unveil teams right now. Number 20 in the AP and number 20 in the College Football Playoff is Texas A&M going against Texas. And Big Ev, I'm sure I don't know if you are like caught in the vacuum on social media like I am between these two teams, but this is one of the most expensive college football tickets in the regular season we've seen in a very long time. It's something crazy. Like if you try to go to the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving versus going to A&M Texas, it's like 5 or 6 times more expensive. It's insane. But if you are trying to go to this game or any of the other games, whether you want to go to the NFL, college football, obviously there's tons of sports events ahead of us this week. Go to Game Time, download the Game Time app, use code RUFF. You can easily score great deals with the new Game Time Picks feature, which is where it basically filters out all of the fluff for you. South Carolina at number 15. That's interesting. You can go and it'll go through thousands of tickets for you without you having to sit there and do it. So use code RUFF. It's the best ticketing app, the lowest prices, lowest price guaranteed. They send you to comedy shows, events, sports, whatever. And if you're looking for an expensive, hot expensive ticket, go to Game Time, see how much they can help you out. Use code RUFF. Okay, so
Yep.
I know
Here I come.
what?
What's the rankings? Are the rankings coming out?
Yeah, so they're already out. So I said, so A&M is at 20, which is, same as AP, but we're already, so South Carolina is 15. They're up 3 spots. Ole Miss is right ahead of them, and then Alabama's right ahead of them. So 13, 14, 15, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina.
I think there's something clear here already off the rip.
Alabama's going to do it.
They're leaving this door wide open. Well, I'll tell you what. One of these 3 loss teams is getting. I don't know which one of them, whether it's Bama, whether it's South Carolina. One of them's getting in.
I think it's clearly Alabama.
Or even South Carolina. Well, I mean, Clemson's they have Clemson in the playoff right now.
I mean, if South Carolina
South Carolina being 15, they very much opened the door for them. They go get a top 12 win. They're gonna jump in.
It's very, very, very clear that that's what's happening. And unfortunately, for Alabama, I mean, I guess Auburn did just get a big win, but Auburn's not very good. Unfortunately for Alabama and Ole Miss, they don't have what you just said, Ev. Like, okay, Ole Miss beats Mississippi State. No offense, Brandon. Alabama beats Auburn. Okay. South Carolina beats Clemson. That could easily jump them.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Clemson's 12.
I don't care. I disagree.
Well,
you're not telling me for a fact. You're telling me for reality.
Yeah, I'm telling you they just unveiled it.
What I'm saying is even if they get the Clemson win, you still line those 3 teams up. Alabama will have a win over Georgia. They will have a win at LSU. They will have a win over South Carolina. Ole Miss will have a win over Georgia. They'll have a win over South Carolina, a dominant win. South Carolina will have a win over A&M and a win over Clemson. I don't think South Carolina's in any position to jump anybody. But let's be honest here, because it appears that Alabama is like 1 spot out of the playoff, but they're not really 1 spot out of the playoff, right? I mean, still, because both Big 12 championship game contenders are behind them, correct? Yeah. So one of those is getting a spot. So they're not really 1 game out of the playoff. They're like 2 games out of the playoff.
I haven't seen, I mean, unless I missed it because we were talking and I was doing the ad. Where'd they put Arizona State?
16. I think 16.
16?
They jumped
the sleeper that I think could steal it. Iowa State, I think, was 18 or 19.
And Boise State's at 11. Brandon, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. The head-to-head has to matter, but I do think that the way that because like these teams, like Clemson winning jumped 5 spots last week. Like that's like they're showing that they're not moving them up like just 1 or 2 spots. Like Ole Miss dropped 5, Alabama dropped 6. Like they're showing a precedent. So Indiana's 10. They dropped 5 spots. Like they're dropping teams.
Clemson kind of jumped up by default.
Yeah. So like much happened.
They didn't do anything. They just jumped up because all those teams. And I think Brandon's 100% right. They will not put South Carolina over Bama then. But what I think they could do is, I think what they're opening the door for is to put a couple of them in. I think they could do that. I think there's a way where
guys, I just don't know because you've got 4 Big Ten spots are locked. Okay.
Yes.
Notre Dame, as long as they don't lose, is locked. ACC champ is locked. ACC loser is in great shape.
But that's where I think they could start pulling a fast one on us.
So
I think
SMU is
I think
9.
they could start I think there's a world where SMU like loses or whatever, or Miami, whoever, where they fall down like 3-4 spots, and then they just put Bama in with 3 losses or whoever, South Carolina, whoever.
There's a world where 3 ACC teams get in this playoff.
That's true. That's also true. That's
So
also I think is possible.
We're officially at an impasse waiting for the rest of these rankings, and then we'll move forward, correct?
The one thing that I think would be very, very clear is that all those teams I just said, the South Carolina, Bama, Ole Miss, they are the biggest Vanderbilt fans in the world. Which that's another wrench, because if they lose, Tennessee beat Bama.
So Georgia's
so that's a whole other thing too.
Hey, Big Ev, when Alabama and Tennessee were both 2-loss teams, it was kind of universal that Tennessee was behind Alabama, and they were ranked behind Alabama. So I don't think, listen, call it name bias, call it on the helmet, call it whatever. If a 3-loss team is getting in and one 3-loss team is getting in, it is Alabama.
You're probably right.
I personally think that is the case.
Which I agree with you on like principle. It's just also like losing to Vanderbilt, who's 6-6, or will be 6-6 if they lose to Tennessee, and then losing Oklahoma the way they did last week. Like, it's just garbage. Like, and Ole Miss doesn't have like a quote good loss either, but like that's crazy. Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, that's
Oklahoma is shit.
Yeah,
Auburn is shit. Like, I can say that. Like, these teams had no business losing last week.
Yeah, it was a bad loss. Where are we at now?
Miami is number 6.
7, Miami 6.
Boy, they are valuing the ACC. They've got Miami 6, SMU 9, and Clemson. What was Clemson? 12, 10?
12.
They are valuing it. So 5 Notre Dame. So I mean, it's clear that one is Oregon, 2 is Ohio State, 3 is Texas, and 4 is now.
Now let me say this: Notre Dame loses to USC. Are they out, or do you think they can survive it?
I think they're fine.
I think it would depend on what else happens.
I don't know if it would.
Their schedule was just so easy.
You're right, but the problem is
so fucking easy.
The people that are waiting outside the fence of this playoff are 3-loss teams. Mm-hmm. There's no – if there were a 2-loss power conference team that was sitting at number 14, I'd be like, Notre Dame would be in trouble. But they did lose to Northern Illinois. It would
that's what I was going to say. Like, that should count as like 2.
It'd get interesting real fast.
You were sitting there with like saying that you're counting like whoever South Carolina losing to like the Bama the same way as them losing to Northern Illinois. That's not fair.
It would also depend on what happens in the A&M Texas game to a certain degree, because Notre Dame's best win would be A&M. And if A&M's playing for an SEC championship, then they can say, well, in week 1, they went to Kyle Field at night and beat them. Now, again, I don't think those are the same teams, but
yeah.
So they have Arizona State in the first round.
God, a path of Arizona State, Boise State is.
For you guys?
I mean,
for you guys?
Right now, I would like to win.
You're not going to be the 5, though. You're going to be the 1.
So it's Ohio State versus Arizona State going to play Boise State.
Like, do you want to lose the Big Ten championship for this?
Yeah, you're not going to be the
crazy.
5. You're going to be the 1.
I'm saying, like, if you like the way it is now, if you win the Big Ten championship, the loser would play Boise, and the winner will play Georgia.
Hold on now. I don't think there's a guarantee if you lost it, you'd be 5. You might fall behind Notre Dame.
He's saying Oregon could throw the game.
No. Well, I'm saying just whoever wins.
What I'm saying is there value in losing the Big Ten championship game so you can go to number 5. My thing is, if you lost the Big Ten championship game, there's no guarantee you don't go to 6 or 7.
Well, if Ohio State loses the Big Ten championship, they wouldn't be 5 because they'd have 2 losses. If Oregon loses the Big Ten championship, they would be number 5.
We're speaking hypothetically, of course, I don't want to put this in the galaxy, but if Ohio State loses a 1-point game to Oregon again, I don't see how you could say, oh, like Notre Dame gets a pass because they sat on the couch and we lost to the number 1 team by 1
We
point.
don't want to be in Hypotheticalville, but that's exactly what we're just all up in Hypotheticalville right now.
That's where we're at. We're there, so we're talking about it. I just to give Notre Dame basically the bump for not playing and losing to the number 1 team by 1 point would be like enough to knock you back. I don't think that's explainable.
Well, you
we're in
can
a
also
flawed system.
There's no rationale to that.
Correct. We're in this world that we live in with this committee and everything is so flawed. It's so far-fetched. It's so fake. It's la land. It's whatever they want, whatever they're believing at that single second to be true. They'll hold on to it. 7 seconds later, hey, strength of schedule matters now, but it didn't matter for other teams 7 seconds ago.
You're being dramatic. You're being dramatic.
Correct.
If you look at 1 through 12, it's pretty sensical. Like I understand.
I'm not disagreeing with the rankings.
Okay, well, right. So what's
talking
the
about what Ed was
big
saying
flaw
about the Notre Dame Ohio State thing?
Okay.
There's also a world, and I don't think that it should happen because I think Ohio State would be better. But if you have a 2-loss ACC champion right? Wait, so this is where I go. So you have Clemson, SMU, and Miami. They all win. It's going to be Miami, SMU in the Big 12 in the ACC championship, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be crazy. I do think that if Oregon loses, Oregon's the number 5 team. Ohio State would have probably a gripe to be there, but I could still see them maybe flirting with that. The biggest thing to me is, and I don't think it's going to happen, and we're going to see. I don't think that there is going to be like an SEC versus SEC, Big 10 versus Big 10 game in the first round. Now I could be wrong, but from a TV network standpoint, I see them trying to make that not happen. So the Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee, Georgia, I don't see a world that the committee says we're going to do that. I see them try to finagle the rankings to make it Big 10 SEC, Big 10 SEC.
Yeah, I agree.
If I'm the number 10 seed, 11 seed, and I'm an SEC team, I'm just dying to get a trip I'm dying to face number 7 Indiana. I'd suck 30 dicks to get that. Anybody who's at 9, 10, or 11 has to go on the road. They are praying that their trip is Indiana because that's a bye basically.
Well, unless you're Tennessee because it's cold.
It doesn't matter.
I was making the joke about the benches, Brandon.
All right, so do some business.
Some business would be DraftKings. So obviously we've been talking all season about if you're a newbie, you can jump on DraftKings. They've changed up their promo a little bit because we're going into November. By the time we do the reaction show on Saturday, it's going to be December, but you still have an opportunity to jump on DraftKings if you bet $5 on anything and that bet wins. But it doesn't matter the odds. It could be the biggest, lowest. Well, it doesn't matter. It could be minus 2,000. If your bet wins, you get $150 in bonus bets right now. Use the promo code RUFF, and you can get that promo. Again, $5. If it wins, $150 in bonus bets. We love DraftKings. There's nothing better than sitting on the couch, eating all your Thanksgiving food, watching football with a high noon in your hand responsibly. And if you're of age, responsibly with the DraftKings app in your hand. Promo code RUFF. It's the number 1 place to bet, and we love it. If they're our partners, go follow all of our bets all week. We're all going to be firing off bets responsibly. And also it's the number 1 place to bet on touchdowns. So promo code RUFF, the crown is yours.
Let me talk to because it's Tuesday night. It's not our normal Saturday crew. We got some motherfucking goddamn idiots in there. We got Levi Gavea. By the way, Mississippi State will get their shit kicked in by Indiana. No fucking shit. No fucking shit. A playoff team that's in the top 10 would beat a 2-10 team. I understand where we are right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and lie to you and kiss you on the cheek and say, well, you guys are awful pretty. I'm going to tell the truth, and they don't belong with actual playoff teams. We don't either. You know why? We're 2-10. Fucking idiot. Get the fuck out of here if you're just going to be a negative little bitch.
Also, Brandon has said the season starts on Monday.
Season starts Monday.
Season starts Monday. More cowbells back.
It's a new day at Mississippi State. More cowbells coming back, and we're getting the guys, we're getting the dudes.
We were having this conversation before we jumped on, and Ev brought up a good point. Obviously, Thanksgiving having all the NFL games and having that really good Thursday night matchup. Are you okay with the Egg Bowl moving? I don't like the Egg Bowl moving. I know it's been on Friday before, but I like the Egg Bowl on Thursday night. I'm not trying to dick around with that.
We're 2-10. They're 9-3. Play that bitch tonight at 3 a.m. I don't care. Just get it over with. Fine. It's fine. Just get it over with. Congratulations. We'll see you next year in Starkville. We got to regroup, revamp. Fine. I don't care. This year, It can come back to Thanksgiving next year. I don't care. If it were a normal year and I was excited about the game, I kind of do prefer Thanksgiving night because we get the national spotlight to ourselves.
But this year, I mean, it's
No.
okay. You're telling people the truth. Like, you're going to get your ass kicked. It's fine.
Brandon Walker tells the truth at all times. Sometimes that truth is about Indiana not being a playoff caliber team. Sometimes that truth is about South Carolina. Sometimes that truth is about Mississippi State being probably the worst Power 5 team in the country. And that's the truth. And I'll say it. And it doesn't hurt my feelings to say it about my team. I can acknowledge reality. I suggest the rest of you motherfuckers out there look into that. All right. Do one more. We're not streaming the Egg Bowl. Vincey's going to the game. We are not streaming the Egg Bowl. He's going to Mississippi. I'm staying in Chicago. He's no longer allowed at my house. There.
Also, sadly, we're not streaming any games this weekend, which I know, Ev, like you have shown up when Michigan has won. Like, and maybe I'm just being a sap, but I'm like, damn, I like when we're all together on Saturdays for this weekend.
You can thank Dave for that. He's a coward.
Sad about it. I fired off a text to Dan and Dave, and they both said no. And then I was like, well, if Boss 1 and Boss 2 say no, I guess we're not streaming. Sad.
Well, Kayce, let's just I would like for you to say a true sentence. Dave Portnoy is a coward. Repeat that.
No.
Why not? Big F, repeat after me. Dave Portnoy is a coward.
Dave Portnoy is a coward.
Blutman, repeat after me.
Spineless jellyfish.
Dave Portnoy is a coward.
Thank you, Dave Portnoy, for making the Big Ten the best conference in all the land again. As a Bruins fan, I really appreciate it.
Kayce,
Or not.
Kayce, repeat after me. Dave Portnoy is a coward.
Now, see, here's the thing. I'm not going to do it because it's not my game. Now, if he backed out of my game like he did Ev's, I would absolutely.
Either.
Well, right, but you
You're
have
Buckeye Brandon.
Like he's not backing out of the game that impacts me. What I am saying is that we've been doing this show for like the college football show for like 7 or 8 seasons. And normally we're either on the road or all streaming on this day.
You're pointing out we're not streaming. Why are we not streaming?
I don't know. Dave and Dan said they're not streaming.
Well, no, Dave's. If Dave wanted to stream, Big Cow would be down.
No, I do agree with that. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's also like I'm okay with not streaming because Saturday night I would like to be in a dark room all by myself. I'm not going to be, but that's what I prefer. So at least I'm not going to have a million cameras on me. At least I will be semi-alone. I'll feel more alone because that game's going to fucking kill me.
Let's get this one out of the way. It's the Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes game of the week. It is the Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes game of the week. I would like to go first.
Can I go first?
I clearly asked to go first.
Go first.
No, you go first.
Someone's going to
you go first.
Ladies
You go
first. Ladies
You
first.
go first.
No, you go
It's
first.
the Egg Bowl. It's the Egg Bowl. I'm sorry.
Such a fucking bitch. You're such.
The Egg Bowl. You're not even gonna watch it.
What did you fucking think I was gonna say? Why did you
say
do
Egg?
that? Why did you just take mine? What did you think I was gonna say?
Because you're not even gonna watch it. So why would you cover your eyes?
Do you hear yourself talking?
Mine's actually not the Egg Bowl. I just wanted to make you mad. Mine is actually written down, not the Egg Bowl. It's a good one though. So go ahead.
Where's my motherfucking? My Cover Your Eyes game of the week is the Egg Bowl. In life, sometimes the sun shines on you. Sometimes the sun shines on another dog. And I will be honest, the sun doesn't always shine where I want it to shine, but that doesn't stop me from shining. And this Friday, the sun will not shine where I want it to shine. It will instead give Ole Miss probably a victory in the Egg Bowl. Is that going to stop me? No, it's only going to strengthen me. But don't watch it. I'm asking you, if you've ever enjoyed any piece of content, don't watch this. Cover your eyes for the Egg Bowl. Blutman, what's your Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes game of the week?
I mean, no offense to you. I'm going to be watching the Egg Bowl. It's one of my favorite games to watch every year, and I'm hoping Mississippi State makes it close and heck, maybe even wins the game. And I wish it was on Thanksgiving. Nonetheless, don't watch UCLA Fresno State and don't watch Trent Dilfer's UAB Blazers play against the biffless Charlotte 49ers.
Big Av, what's your Liam Blutman Memorial Cover Your Eyes game of the week?
I can't believe no one chose this. I thought I was going to get beaten to the punch. How can you have this topic and not say the Cum Bowl? The Cum Bowl is the game you need to close your eyes for. I mean, UConn, UMass, throw the record books out. Just come everywhere. The Cum Bowl.
Did you see that they debuted a new trophy for it?
What is it? What
is it? Dildo?
No, it was what was it, Blutman? It was like a bowl?
I don't know. I ain't see nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was mistaken. I thought you were the #1 ball watcher in the world.
Yeah. College football watcher, not new trophy just dropped for a fake bowl game.
Yeah, but you're a social media guy. You see everything.
I see a lot. I don't get to see everything.
I just
the Cum Bowl's Internet 101.
This trophy's terrible. Also, you forget, what do you call it? Boycotted UMass for this game because their athletic director isn't giving them senior day.
It's an antique bean pot.
Yes, thanks.
Anyway, Kayce, what's yours?
It's Penn State, Maryland. Maryland's really bad, and Penn State is going to beat the shit out of them. It's like right at 3:30. It's on the Big Ten network. It's so bad they're not even putting it on a network everybody has. Obviously, the Egg Bowl was up there, and Ev, I did look at the Cum Bowl. I kind of forgot it was called the Cum Bowl for a second, but obviously UConn, UMass, terrible. But I think Penn State is like they've obviously played a harder schedule than Indiana. There's no doubt about that. They lost to Ohio State, but Penn State is in such a phenomenal spot, which is great for James Franklin because this is, I think, the 12-team playoff was made for him. I think they're going to beat the fucking shit out of Maryland, and not many people are going to watch it because it's right in the middle of the day and it's on the Big Ten Network.
We move on to the player to watch. The player to watch this weekend. Blutman, I'm going to allow you to go first.
Okay. So Thursday night, Thanksgiving. You're eating Thanksgiving food, probably. I'm not. I hate Thanksgiving food. I'll be watching Mekhi Hughes, the running back, Tulane. I think I voted him 6th or 7th in Doak Walker top 10. 1,291 rushing yards on season, 15 touchdowns on 234 carries. Gets this top speed real quick. Superb contact balance. Tacklers deflect on him like he's swatting a bug away. Dynamic player, NFL future. Friday. Been saying it. Oklahoma State's got a guy at quarterback. Mayulukai. I'm trying to learn the name still. It's a tough name to say. Mayulukai Smith, quarterback of Oklahoma State. He's 33 of 46 to start his career. 429 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I like him. 6'4". Why are you flipping me off?
Not you. I want to look at the chat. Just keep going.
Oh, 6'4" with a cannon. Scans the defense well, takes calculated risks. I'm all in. Saturday, Arizona State receiver Jordan Tyson, 67 for 958, 9 touchdowns this season. Brother Jalen, 20th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, Cleveland Cavaliers. Another brother played college football, South Alabama. Dad played college football at Florida A&M. What's that? Great athletic bloodlines. You love that. Jordan observes contact very well, extreme body control. He's a contortionist. One of the most impressive players in college football this season. Tremendous breakout player in store for a bigger 2025.
Big Ev, who's your player to watch?
Cade Klubnik. His matchup at home against this defense. The committee's showing you, Cade, Clemson. You got the ball. You go win this game. You're going to get in the playoff. Really, show me something. Big spot. Really, really good defense of South Carolina, especially really good front 4, front 7. Huge game for him to kind of – I think people, even though he's had a good season after the Georgia game and some spots last year, people kind of gave up on him. Give us a reason to get back in on you, Cade. I really don't believe in you, but show us something here.
Kayce.
Well, I mean, we haven't talked about this game yet. I know I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, we got kind of sidetracked with the rankings, and I didn't know how deep you want to go into it because I know exactly what game you're talking about, but just dive into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, people in the chat are going to be like, oh, you're talking about any. I'm sorry, folks. This is the biggest game of the weekend as far as playoff contention is going. Obviously, whoever wins this game goes to Atlanta to play Georgia. It would be easy for me to say Marcel Reed because obviously as the quarterback for A&M, that's going to be a very important part, but it's going to be Quinn Ewers because when you look at this Texas team, And like Brandon, you mentioned, like, it's not even just like that they've had a soft schedule because, and obviously like they have, and then even Texas fans can't argue that. But if all the favorites win, Texas will go into College Station with only 2 wins over teams with winning records. That would be Colorado State and Florida. I mean, I understand Florida is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. DJ Lagway didn't play. When you look at the game that they played against Georgia, the only game that they played that was worth a shit, they won't have any top 25 wins, whatever. The biggest thing was Georgia's defense got pressure on Quinn Ewers to the point where Sark then put Arch Manning in because their offensive line could not hold up. So the player to watch for me is Quinn Ewers or Arch, whoever's back there, against this A&M defensive front seven, because Nick Scorton and Shamar Stewart, they are going to absolutely want to get their asses, no problem. And I have no idea what A&M's defense is going to look like in comparison to Georgia's defense. But what I do know is A&M's got a really good defense on the front seven. They can't tackle for shit half the time, but when they get pressure on people, it becomes a problem for them. And the only game that Texas has had to even remotely see something like that is against Georgia. So can this offensive line protect Quinn? If it's Arch, can they protect Arch? I'm praying no, but that's the matchup that I'm really looking at, because that's been the biggest problem when Texas had to play one game that actually was tough.
Yeah. So mine was also Quinn Ewers / Arch Manning.
It's fair.
Listen, they're not only everything you said is kind of true. I don't think you hit this point as much, but 190,000 Texas A&M Aggie fans will be there. This will be far and away the toughest road atmosphere they've had to. Far and away the toughest road atmosphere they've had to face this year. Like, they have had a very, 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 very soft road. Now they're going to go in here, this place, not only in this season, but for the first time in 13 years, and it might be a redshirt freshman quarterback. I think it's yours, but it might. Woo, the quarterback position in Texas is the most important position in the country this weekend. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and obviously, like we've talked about this. I mean, I can talk about this game again because it'll come up again. I can promise.
As long as you want.
No, I'm just saying that, like, the atmosphere alone, and like, again, I'm biased, went to A&M, love Kyle Field, but night game with 110,000 people, everything on the line. And I said this on the college football show. Obviously, the Texas OU rivalry is massive. We know that. And every time I bring up A&M Texas, people are like, well, they care more about OU. That may or may not be true for some Longhorns, but this game means everything to these two teams. And the fact that it is coming back in College Station at night with this much on the line, like, it's going to be electric. It's going to be awesome. And the fact that, like, the line is 6 right now, but like, anybody who's actually, I love that you guys are saying it because you're not Aggie fans. Like, Texas hasn't played anybody. A&M has 3 losses. Like, there's just so much on the line. If it is Arch Manning, which would be tough, but even if it's Quinn Ewers, like, the sound alone is going to throw you off. And the defensive front for A&M is really fucking good.
All right, we move on to.
But I don't think Ev got his, did he?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
What?
Player to watch?
Tubman.
Oh, right. Sorry.
It's not all about you, Kayce. It's not all
I
about
want to
you.
make sure Ev got his moment.
All right.
Also, love A&M in that game. Love
we move
A&M.
to the 2 overtime game of the week. I don't know if I have it. I don't think Blutman has it either. I doubt Kayce. I doubt Kayce has it, but we're going to guess. I mean, we're going to try. Big F, what do you think?
Brandon, Kayce, Liam.
Do it.
I found it.
Got it.
The SEC, a lot of big matchups this week. We just talked about one, Texas A&M.
You motherfucker.
Half the other one, South Carolina. There's one too. They're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one.
Motherfucker.
There's one game in the SEC. That means literally, it's not the Egg Bowl. That means
I know.
literally nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And that's why it's going to be a classic. Mizzou, Arkansas. That's it. You're welcome. I got it.
I think that's a great pick. Again, Arkansas is used to playing overtime games too. There's a little bit of heat to this game. I don't know if y'all seen Pittman talking shit. There's a little bit of heat to it. But yeah. That's not the game I had. I thought you were doing another game in the SEC. But Blutman, what's your 2 overtime game of the week?
Yeah, it's not just rivalry week. It's not just big week in the SEC, playoff implications, action on the line for a trip to the title game. There's more. College football playoff with the FCS underway. When 8-2 Drake and 9-3 Tarleton State get together, you know a banger's on the horizon. Oh, and a chance to play South Dakota on deck. Oh man, this one's not destined for just overtime, not just 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This game, I've got it this time. Ev, I've got it. Double OT, Drake, Tarleton State, bingo.
What if we just fucked around and both did it?
That'd be cool.
Well, let's all 4 do it. Kayce.
It's a game that matters absolutely 0 in the Big Ten, and also is a disgusting game. The line The line right now is -1.5. It would be Rutgers in East Lansing versus Michigan State. You want to talk about a disgusting display of football, folks. You've got a 6-5 team versus a 5-6 team. And ain't nobody give a single shit outside of those 2 fan bases about this team. And when it surprised me, if I I'm on the quad box and I'm searching around in the middle of the day and I look at FS1, I'm like, damn, they're in 2, 3, 4 overtimes. We saw a 4 overtime game last week. Maybe a 2-point conversion between those 2 garbage teams.
You guys are missing one crucial point, and I don't blame you. You guys know a little bit of ball, but you're not a supreme ball knower like myself.
Yep.
And you're missing one very, very key point, and that is it is rivalry week.
Rivalry.
And with rivalry week, we throw away all logic and reason. Because logic and reason need not apply here. Your line of 1.5, those 2 teams, very even. Big Av, good point. Missouri, Arkansas is always a good game. I like your pick. Bluntman, whatever FCS team you said that's going to play in a Walmart parking lot, sure. Great. I loved it. Drake in a banger. Sure, we've heard that before.
Yep.
It's the fucking Iron Bowl, guys. It is the Iron Bowl. It is Alabama who has played down the competition all year. It is Auburn who all of a sudden can complete a forward pass and all of a sudden can move the ball down the field and all of a sudden is playing for a little bit of momentum down the stretch of the season. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, they have not overwhelmed these bad teams. Auburn is playing for everything. Alabama's just trying to play a little defense to try to ease into the position for the playoff, and Auburn's coming with every barrel they got. Is Auburn as good as Alabama? No. But can I see this game in the 3rd overtime and Alabama's fighting for their lives? Oh, yeah. Better Alabama teams than this have played worse Auburn teams than this to double overtime. It's the Iron Bowl.
It is, going back to what I said about Ohio State, Michigan, and when it's these types of rivalry games, you can throw out the record book. The Iron Bowl, to me, is actually one of those games because some of the weirdest shit ever, obviously the kick six being the most iconic college football play ever, weird shit happens in that game. And Alabama's just not Alabama of old. Now, Brandon, I know we talked all about the scenarios of what would happen with 3-loss SEC teams. If Auburn wins, South Carolina probably does get in as a 3-loss team. Because what?
Did that magically make their 27-3 loss to South Carolina to Ole Miss go away?
No, but they just showed the resumes, and obviously it's muted, like it was before the Kansas basketball game started. But they showed the resumes and the big difference, like Ole Miss strength of schedule versus the strength of schedule for South Carolina. And if South Carolina beats Clemson, and that all comes into it, I'm just saying. Now, I don't think Auburn's going to beat Alabama, but I also wouldn't throw it out.
Everything's on the table.
Everything.
I thought that was 100% going to be Ev's pick.
Yeah, I did too. When he started talking about the SEC, I thought that was going to be his pick. Do some business.
Well, Brandon.
Yeah.
It's our favorite swearing segment. Now, on last Saturday night, when A&M lost in 4 overtimes, I think I said the F word more than I'm going to say it in this ad, but that's okay. Mobile X. This segment right now is presented by Mobile X because it is time to get unfucked, folks. Mobile X wants to unfuck your payment plan because unlike traditional unlimited plans with the other guys, you pay for data, whether you use it or not. Mobile X helps you spend less because you only pay for what you use, which means you could save up to 90% of your current mobile phone service. It's a new app-based phone service. You can do the app, you can just go online. But again, it helps you save money. So what we do here on Necessary Roughness, we say who we think needs to get unfucked for the upcoming week. So it is rivalry week, but also a big time week for the college football playoff going into championship week. Ev, who needs to get Mobile X unfucked?
I think Iowa State needs to get Mobile X unfucked, Kayce. They're a team that started off great. They had a couple bad games. Everyone's kind of forgotten about them. And they've just been laying in the weeds here. And now they find themselves in a spot where I believe they're 18 in the college football playoff. They're playing Kansas State, who they ranked 24. So they have ability to get a quality win here. And I guess it doesn't really matter. It's about just if they can win the Big 12 championship game. But their season was great, cooked. They're kind of back where if they beat Kansas State, I believe they would get in the Big 12 championship game and play Arizona State. It's all right there in front of them. It's there to be had. I believe they would be in.
Blevin?
Me. Because on our Saturday night shows, I do the same thing every week where I keep making the mistake of saying stuff while the games are going on, put a little asterisk, doesn't matter. I look like a big doofus idiot, even more so. I still own Lincoln Riley. I mean, that's just a fact, but tough game to lose for those little UCLA Bruins, and just bad game to lose.
Kayce?
I mean, you just mentioned this game. Alabama needs to get unfucked. Alabama losing to Oklahoma was so awful. Venables smiling, and the whole thing. And Alabama had everything in front of them, and now they play their bitter rival, which again, no disrespect to Ohio State, Michigan. Brandon, I know you probably feel this way. The Iron Bowl to me is the most heated rivalry in college football. Rivalry. They shoot each other about it. Alabama has to get unfucked against Auburn. They have to do it. Obviously, a much more talented team than Auburn. And if they even want to remotely stay in the playoff rankings, no shit, they have to win the Iron Bowl. And they were an embarrassment last week. There is nothing else to say. They looked awful against a very awful Oklahoma team.
Yeah, I'm not going to use this segment to say who should get unfucked. What I'm going to do is honor some folks who are getting themselves unfucked, because that's what you got to do. And it's the Florida Gators and the Oklahoma Sooners. Florida, over the last couple of weeks, back-to-back wins over LSU and Ole Miss. They have crawled through the river of shit and are headed out on the right side. And Oklahoma, huge, gigantic win the other day. They've gone through some things this year, but if they close by beating Alabama and LSU back-to-back, that is the road to unfucked. So credit to them.
So go check out mymobilex.com or download the Mobile X app from the App Store or Google Play, because if you're not with us, you're getting ripped off.
All right, who's on upset alert, Big F?
Brandon. You said I didn't talk about Alabama-Auburn?
Yeah.
Here I am. Alabama is on big-time upset alert. This team, I mean, we'll get into our underdog pick later, 11.5. I love Auburn 11.5 in this game. I think this game is a war. Auburn's defense is so underrated. I know they gave a bunch of points last week. Overtime was kind of part of that. But Auburn's defense is really good. And two, Hugh Freeze is something that you've talked about, Brandon. I think you and Mincy went to. Hugh Freeze is much better as an underdog. When he's a favorite and has expectations, he shits down his leg. When he's an underdog, he comes in there, good game plan. I think this is a tough game for Alabama. I would not be shocked at all if they lost this game. I think Bama's on big-time upset alert. I love Auburn in the spot.
Blevin, who's on upset alert?
For me, well, I have two, so I don't want to steal one.
Take them. Go ahead.
Okay. I actually have one. I lied. I forgot to delete one. I'm so sorry. Georgia Tech at Georgia. Georgia Tech plays a great brand of football that's very much so catered to the upset. If they're successful, you're going to have a tough time playing against them. Those Yellow Jackets become pests. The ability to bleed clock consistently as they chunk gain for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards every single down. It seems decent passing game there. I think in Georgia just doesn't show up for games. You don't know what Georgia team you're getting. You roll the dice and see what you get. Georgia ain't showing up on Friday. Georgia Tech's live to win that game. I'll say it.
Kayce?
It's Notre Dame. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the bracket, but USC, I think I'm going to look at the line. I think what's USC right now, plus 7.5. Like, we've talked a ton about Notre Dame, and we've talked about, obviously they had the week 1 win and they lose to Northern Illinois. They have not played anybody, and USC has not been great this year. They're 6-5. Obviously Lincoln Riley has done a lot to lose those games, but it's at USC. Notre Dame has to go on the road against a team that is a bitter rival. And Notre Dame may go out and kill them. I don't know, but this is by far the hardest game they've played since week 1. And for it to be a 7.5 point favorite, I could see USC winning this game. USC has lost games, not because they're god awful, because Lincoln Riley has been god awful a lot. They've not looked great in every single game, but they've looked competitive in almost every single game, and Notre Dame's not played anybody.
So I wrote because I always go last. I write down a bunch. I don't know who's going to be left to me. I wrote down Texas. I wrote down Notre Dame. I wrote down Alabama. I wrote down Tennessee. I wrote down Georgia. But the one that fell to me that I'm going to use, I can't believe fell to me because I think this is the most obvious upset alert on the board. All right. I think it's the most obvious upset on the board, and it's the Miami Hurricanes going to Syracuse. Miami has played themselves into trouble a lot. They have absolutely played themselves in trouble. And if I told, there's so many quiet, like 8-3 teams. Y'all realize that Syracuse is 8-3?
I didn't realize it until the college football show when I was like writing everything down. I was like, wait a minute, how are we're not talking about this enough.
Syracuse is 8-3, Duke's 8-3. Like anyway, but anyway, Syracuse at home with a quarterback who I know he had the Pitt game. We're putting that aside. He can sling it, and they'll throw it confidently. 11 points. Miami hasn't. Like they have shown the ability to absolutely get themselves into wars with teams they don't have any business getting into wars with. I think it's Miami. I think it's big time Miami.
That's a great one. That is a good one. But all of them that you just mentioned are great ones.
The under the radar game, Big F.
To me, it's a game I'm like super, super excited to watch. It's Kansas Baylor. I think this is just I for people, I love the over in this game. 61.5. I love the over. One of my favorite plays of the weekend, if not the favorite. I mean, obviously we've talked a lot about Kansas, how good they've been. Baylor, very good offensive in some shootouts like this. I think we get a classic like Big 12, like 45-42 kind of game down at Waco. Love that Kansas Baylor game.
By the way, Brandon, something that you mentioned on the college football show, it already happened on Tuesday. Because remember, we did the college football show on Monday, and Kansas was my dark horse parlay leg. I think it's Kansas -1.5 already.
Yeah, that's what I was scared of. Yeah.
Well, no, I got it in at that point, so I don't know what that means for the DraftKings part of it, but on Monday it was +1. I'm just saying.
I'm going to go ahead and co-sign Big Av to get out of the way of this segment here. I also had Kansas Baylor. I think this is Kansas playing some of the best football in the country, and Baylor's another team. You think Baylor's like this? They've had a bad. They're 7-4, and they've just been winning. Like they have absolutely turned it around at Baylor. Kansas is turning it around. These are two of the better teams in that conference right now. That's what I got. Under the radar game, Blutman.
Yeah, there's some game we use it a lot. You throw the record books out the window for some games. This game, no, you don't do that. Why would you do that when Jose Orange, Kanto Region's #1 team, goes to play the Kansai Region #2 team, the Kwansei Gakuin Fighters?
Stop. Is this a high school game?
Brandon, brother.
Is this a Canadian college?
Dude, this is the Tokyo Bowl. The winner, this is national semifinals of Japan. The winner goes to the championship, the Koshien Bowl, sponsored by Mitsubishi. The Kwansei Gakuin Fighters, Brandon, have won 6 straight national championships. Throw the record books out the windows. They might be the underdogs in this game. Put the Hosei Orange, who have Syracuse jerseys, honestly, put them on upset alert. Kwansei Gakuin beat them 61-21 to win the title last season. They've got 34 national championships in the history of their program. Brandon, 34. And you're hitting paper on your head like 34 national championships isn't a monumental accomplishment. Look out for Kwansei Gakuin Fighters running back Shohei Itani. See ya, Brandon. That's good football. That's how ball is done. Tokyo Bowl, under the radar.
I know I've said this plenty of times over the years, but we are still, it's like I'm a broken record. We're still a podcast that does way more audio numbers, and we do fine on YouTube. This is why you need YouTube, because Brandon just knocked himself out like Paul Bissonnette 6-on-1 style with a cowbell.
Kayce, I just knocked the shit out of myself.
No, I know. I watched it. It wasn't like that wasn't an act. Like you actually hit yourself very hard.
I don't know why.
That was something that my toddler does. My toddler's like, damn, I'm going to try to injure myself as much as possible. That's what you just did live on YouTube.
Put a hole in my wall.
Did you really?
Yeah.
At least you did it on Tuesday, not on Friday during the game. Well, while you're doing this, I'll go ahead and say mine. So, Ed, you mentioned like obviously Kansas, Baylor, but to me, and I think I might have said this last week or the week before. To me, it's all the Big 12 games because I believe there's still a 4-way tie. So, Arizona State is Brandon. We just saw your ass crack.
Oh no!
All right, what's yours?
Saw your ass.
What's yours?
I said it. I was talking. It's the games in the Big 12 because you've got Arizona State, Arizona, which obviously Arizona State's a much better team. That line doesn't really make sense. I would have thought it would have been more around like 12, 13, 14, whatever. But then you've got Kansas State and Iowa State playing, and then you have Colorado playing Oklahoma State on Friday. And like the 4-way tie is still sitting there. If Arizona State wins out and whatever, I still don't know who's going to go play Arizona State in the Big 12 championship. So those are all, they're technically not under the radar because it's obviously a very important game, but I'm putting them all in there because I feel like the whole Big 12 is fighting under the radar because we don't know who's going to the Big 12 championship.
What's our business? Where we stand?
Dark horse, Underdog, play the day or whatever it is.
Oh,
and our favorite.
And our favorite.
Pork rinds?
Pork rinds.
Yeah, do pork rinds now.
Pork rinds, our favorite. And listen, Thanksgiving week, by the way, Blutman, you said earlier you don't like Thanksgiving food. That's crazy because I've heard people say they don't like turkey, but to not like mashed potatoes and mac and cheese and green bean casserole, but whatever. We'll get to that.
I like mac and cheese. It's not Thanksgiving food at the Blutman house. I don't know what to say.
Okay,
it's just not recognized.
Pork rinds has never been a Thanksgiving food in my family's household, but they are going to be this year because we eat, around like halftime of the first NFL game, and then we eat again later on. But you know what? Like you still want to snack a little bit maybe before. You don't want to have too much pork rinds. And I said this on Saturday night. I was dipping my spicy dill pork rinds in a dill like yogurt sauce. Phenomenal. Crunch on Southern recipe pork rinds. Find your Crunch Time Hero at porkrinds.com. I believe this is the last week for the pork rinds Crunch Time Hero. I could be wrong, but we're getting close. They get a whole celebratory package, tons of pork rinds, the spicy dill, hot honey, sweet barbecue, salt and pepper. They've got them all. Porkrinds.com. And this is the week of eating. This is literally feast week in college basketball. So feast on some pork rinds.
All right. What game excites you? Well, this is a stupid category for right now. I mean, why on earth would I ask Big Ev this question? Why on earth would I ask Kayce this question? But I will allow you both to go ahead and
give us our moments.
Yeah. Big Ev, give it to us.
I've been wearing all black all week. That's for a reason. Funeral, massacre, murder. Ohio State, obviously. The world falls back on its axis. Bloodbath, pain, misery for Michigan.
Yes.
Larry Ellison, get all the money. You still stink. Get all the money. We got money too.
Yeah.
Your money only gets you so far in this life.
And it's not. You know what? I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to get into
Buckeyes,
your moment. Yeah. Kayce, what game excites you the most?
It's the Lone Star Showdown, baby. It's back. And you mentioned it. We haven't played since 2011 when A&M was leaving the Big 12 to go into the SEC. We lost that game. Shout out Justin Tucker ruining my entire life. I grew up with this game. This game meant everything to my family. My dad went to A&M. His brother, my uncle, went to Texas. Obviously, I cried a lot growing up in that game because A&M and in the all-time series. Like, I'm not scared to say it. I know Texas fans like to bring it up. A&M has not bode well in the all-time series. Texas has won double the amount of games as A&M, but this rivalry has been huge forever. It's been one of the oldest rivalries in college football. And the fact that it went away, to be honest, and I know, Brandon, we talked about this when Texas was announced to come back into the SEC. When A&M first went to the SEC, we wanted to continue to play the game against Texas. Texas said, absolutely not. A&M left. It's kind of like the Oklahoma State-Oklahoma situation. Then the script flipped, and then Texas came and said, actually, we do want to keep playing this game before they made the switch to the SEC. And A&M said, absolutely not. You didn't want to play us. Why would we play you? And it became a dick swinging contest. Well, all of that got thrown aside. And even at some point, the state legislation, I can't say that word either, legislation was going to get involved and make them play Big 12 SEC. Obviously did not happen. We're back. This is one of the best rivalries in college football. Everything on the line to go to the SEC championship, which if you would have told me that's how this was going to play out, that's crazy to me. The fact that the first time we play in 13 years has an SEC championship bid on the line. It's insane. I'm sad I'm not going to be there. I'm sad that the show's not going to be there. Obviously, that's what happens when you live in New York and you have family in New York. But here's the thing. This means everything. And am I going to cry either way? Absolutely. But I cannot wait to tune in, watch Kyle field the most insanely beautiful atmosphere in college football on Saturday night to beat the fuck out of Texas. I cannot wait.
Blutman?
Toledo clearly wasn't excited about tonight's game at Akron. Pretty embarrassing. They're getting beat 7-0 by Akron. A meaningless game for Toledo. Whatever. Miami, Ohio at Bowling Green. Winner goes to the MAC championship. That makes every rivalry game just look so weak and mediocre. But not one. The Iron Bowl. Cannot wait. I love the Iron Bowl. My favorite game to watch every single year. That's not UCLA SC. It's the Iron Bowl. This is unquestioned greatness. You never know what you're going to get. Magic happens. Chaos ensues. Weird, wacky. It's perfect. The Iron Bowl personifies college football in the best way possible. Bless you, Kayce. Bless you all for watching the Iron Bowl.
And I'll go with South Carolina Clemson. It's as far as hated rivalries go, it doesn't get enough credit. They fucking hate each other. They detest each other. It's good old fashioned hate too. I used to think Clemson fans were the assholes. No more. South Carolina, fuck them. Anyway, Clemson, South Carolina, two of the better teams in the country, two top 15 teams going at it and playing for something. Probably. Clemson playing for a playoff berth, South Carolina playing for a possible playoff berth. Huge game, gigantic game. It's Clemson, South Carolina. All right. The DraftKings, no. The Unnecessary Roughness Underdog Parlay of the Week presented by DraftKings. And we have hit it 4 times this year. We've been on about a 3-week run of not hitting it. It's time. It's Rivalry Week. We're going to hit it right now. Big Av, get us started.
Me, it's Vanderbilt plus 11. In Diego Pavia, we trust. Sleepy spot for Tennessee. They have nothing to gain, everything to lose. Vanderbilt's playing fast and loose here. They got 6 wins, one of the best seasons they had in a while. They're bowl bound. They don't need this to go to a bowl. Like, guys, this is a game we're partying in Nashville. Don't be surprised if Vanderbilt wins this game outright. Vanderbilt plus 11, give it to me. Underdog pick. Try out DraftKings.
What's his name?
Blutman.
I very badly want to take this game outright, but not going to. I was going to bring this game up during the upset alert segment, but I'm not because I'm using it now, and that's why I fell to Brandon. Syracuse, I believe they're plus 11 against Miami right now. Love Syracuse at home at the Dome. I know that they're 8-3 right now. They haven't played great football lately, though. They've kind of been scraping by and figuring out ways to win. Miami coming to your place, a chance to ruin their season. Yeah, you're going to get their best effort. This is a statement victory for Fran Brown in his opening campaign with the Qs. Syracuse plus 11. They'll win outright, though.
Kayce.
We mentioned this game earlier, too, and you said that it's getting a little heated. I use this as my proper pick on the college football show. It's Arkansas. Arkansas versus Missouri. I know when I said it was plus 4.5. I think it's at plus 3.5 now. Missouri is a product of not only propping the SEC up, which I can say I think the SEC bias is absolutely was keeping Missouri in that mix for a while. I think they're 21 right now, potentially, maybe a little bit lower. I don't remember. But Arkansas has been sneaky. They've beaten themselves a few times. Missouri's just not good. And Sam Pittman said all week, because they got their doors blown off last year. They got humiliated by Missouri in Fayetteville. I think Arkansas wins this game outright. I'm so sick of Missouri. I'm sick of Missouri fans. I'm sick of Missouri in 2024. I just want to send them out in rivalry week with a loss. And for me to want Sam Pittman in Arkansas to win, that's bad. Arkansas plus 4.5.
All right. We have Vandy. We have Syracuse. We have Arkansas. And then we have my pick, Georgia Tech. Too many points. Georgia has played down the competition all year long. Georgia Tech is pesky. And that parlay pays it plus 1240, plus 1240, a $100 bet. If it wins, get you $1,240. A $200 bet, well, doubles that, $2,480. Anyway, there you go. That is the Unnecessary Roughness Underdog Parlay of the Week, presented by DraftKings. This week, DraftKings has a college football parlay profit boost. All you have to do is head to the app and opt in. So head to the app now to check out our bet and claim this week's boost. And there we go. We have it. Rivalry Week is upon us. There'll be games Thursday. There will be game, what? Yes.
Well,
What'd I say?
first of all, we did our not RIP. He's still alive, but he's not alive at North Carolina anymore. Mac Brown is fired.
Yeah, well, I mean, he tried to quit 3 times, and then yesterday he's like, I'm still the coach. Well, actually, North Carolina said, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
Listen, it was probably time, right? That's been a dead dog for a couple of weeks. Go ahead and just out back and just
well, that's sad. $2.8 million buyout. Not very much these days. Not very much. Obviously, and we talked about this a little bit before we were recording, but like he just underperformed. But he in his second stint at North Carolina, he was 44 and 32, 6-5 this season. It's not really that bad, but they were never going to win with Mac Brown.
No, and I think that's a program that's always brimming with potential if they get the right guy. Bloodman, what was your thing? You had a hand up as well.
I know what his thing was.
Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was going off of DraftKings and wanting you guys to say a certain team, and I would tell you the odds that they have to make the current college football playoff.
Ole Miss.
Just a little curiosity.
Clemson.
Clemson is plus 180.
Ole Miss.
Where the heck's Ole Miss? Plus 500.
South Carolina.
South Carolina's plus 340.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M is plus 800.
Fresno State.
Who?
Fresno State.
Not funny.
Just keeping you sharp, man. Just keeping you sharp.
Colorado.
Colorado is plus 600. Same odds as UNLV.
Plus 600? That's low.
All right.
In Alabama plus 250, so they're behind Clemson.
Fun exercise. I'm ready to go.
Well, fun exercise. This is coming out on Tuesday, but Brandon, show everybody your shirt. Show everybody your big customer shirt. Show everybody. We've got Barstool Sports merch. So store.barstoolsports.com. They've got Liam's got a sweatshirt on. Ev's got a hat on. I've got the boys. This, by the way, the back of this is sick. It says "Be a fucking wolf." Store.barstoolsports.com. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, everything, 20% off the Barstool Sports Store. I believe it's starting even earlier on Thanksgiving night than it normally does. Make sure you go. There's anything you could possibly want. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier when Brandon was dying. Shout out Biz for taking on 6 dudes in it. They jumped his ass and he beat the fuck out of all of them. They have a fantastic took some, gave more shirt for Biz on the Barstool Sports Store right now. That's also going to go to charity. Store.barstoolsports.com. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's huge. Get all your holiday gifting. Why wouldn't you want a big customer shirt for all your friends and family?
Yeah, big customer shirts, mostly sports shirts. I'm sure we still got some unnecessary reference shirts. We didn't have any. We didn't do any merch for this one, but I'm sure we still have some out there.
There'll be a Viceroy stuff for Rivalry Week as well.
Yeah.
Oh yes, big time. All the Viceroys have things if their Rivalry Week team wins.
All right, check out store.barstoolsports.com Thursday night. Be ready.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy it. That's unnecessary roughness.